Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 4. So we open the episode with all the men returning from guys' night from the last episode, kind of drunk, and they have the women with their little personal cameras recording them as they get back. Some are a little torn up, some are okay. But then we fast forward to the next day, we're with Teresa and Louis the Lobster. He's telling her that he got into it with Joe, and she's like, "Oh babe, I'm so sorry. I can't believe he's causing all this drama." We then cut to Melissa and Joe, and of course they're talking about the incident as well. This is all stemming from Melissa's podcast. Did not know she had one. I mean, everybody trying to get into the podcast space and the YouTube space, it seemed like. I guess because the coin is good. But on there, Melissa and Joe was talking about how they put food on the table when Teresa was off in jail, when it was just Joe Giudice taking care of the kids. It came off as them saying that they were there all the time for her daughters, and without them it would have been hurt financially. Now, their version of the story is they meant that when Teresa was away in jail, like Joe was doing a special. So, he could get that Bravo check. But he didn't have nobody to film with. So then Melissa and Joe said they agreed to film with them to help put money in his pocket, put food on the table. Now, what I think about that is it was still a flex. Why are y'all talking about this now? Y'all know how Teresa's gonna take that. It makes it seem like, oh yeah, if it wasn't for us, like she should be thankful. So it doesn't help, especially with a relative like Teresa. So I can understand how both sides took it. It doesn't make it any less exhausting though, because this feud is just ongoing. Anyway, when Louis tells Teresa that Joe's mad at her because she didn't invite Melissa's side of the family, she's like, Melissa isn't even in my wedding. Why would I invite her side of the family? And he's like, well, you know how her mom was close to your father when he passed. She's like, and? See, that's the type of person you're dealing with. And of course, everything Teresa does is in spite. So, of course it was a jab, But again, like a lot of y'all said in my comments, that it's Teresa's wedding. It's her day. She can do what she wants. It's still disrespectful. And it still sends a message to the other party when they're trying to work on their relationship. You have over 200 guests going, and you just invited Chanel Ayan, I think maybe 2 weeks before the wedding, and you can't invite Melissa's side of the family, like 3 of her relatives. That's a slap in the face. I'm sorry. The event clearly wasn't a personal one where close friends and family were invited. So Teresa's wondering if Melissa and Joe are even gonna come to the housewarming, and Louis encourages her to call Joe to extend the olive branch to make sure he's coming. I don't know, the way Teresa's doing this, it just seems like it's out of obligation, and she really doesn't want him or his wife there. Ooh, this phone call is just so awkward and forced. And the fact that Louis has to slide Teresa a note for her to read? Really? Is she really just not that smart? Well, you know what? I'm not surprised. You want to make peace. I mean, are they in the mafia or something? Like, all Teresa gotta do is just invite Melissa's mom and her sisters, and it'll be done. They both agree on the phone call that they shouldn't talk about the past, or else they're just gonna get into it again. I mean, it's definitely just like a cycle. Like, Melissa does something like spiteful to Melissa and Joe. Melissa and Joe reacts about it. Then Teresa attacks them. They then try to bury the hatchet or make up out of obligation. And then it starts all over again. She then asks Joe, is he coming to the housewarming party? And he says he doesn't know. So next thing we're with Dolores. She's with her mom and her fine-ass son. I love how he tends to his mom and his grandmother. So nice to see. Very respectful young man. I can say he's fine, right? He's in his early 20s? Okay, just making sure. So the first topic is, her mom and her health. She's setting her ways with her diet, and I feel like I can relate to that. Let's see, last time I had a vegetable, I can't recall. Maybe I had some spinach last week. I gotta work on my diet too before I get up there. But then the conversation turns to Dolores' new man and Frank's relationship. It seems like Paulie does not want to have a friendship with Frank. And I totally get that. Like, wouldn't it be weird if Dolores was friends with Frank's girlfriend? Like, they were just buddy-buddy hanging out like that? And I agree with Dolores. She's putting Paulie first. Like, that's her man. Like, Frank is not her man. And she always lets us know that Frank was a shit husband. She lets us know that every season. Like, there's a reason they're not back together. I'm glad they have a great relationship, but Dolores should totally set up boundaries. Next scene, we're with Jennifer and her husband going out to dinner, and she is just nagging this poor man. They initially have a disagreement with her spoiling the kids, and then the conversation turns to her fight with Dolores and how she feel like he didn't have her back. Like, she thinks that even if she's in the wrong, her husband should have her back. Now, ladies who are married or have boyfriends in the chat, let me know, do you want a yes man? Or do you want your man to hold you accountable when you're wrong? Like, yeah, I can see someone wanting their partner to have their back 100% of the time. I get that. But also, I would want someone to let me know, like, hey, you fucked up. I mean, I have your back, but you know you were wrong in that situation, right? Jennifer's like, fuck that shit. You ride with me regardless. Like, he just looks so miserable when he's with her, but again, she got 5 of his kids, and it's cheaper to keep her. So next scene, we're with the new girl, Rachel, meeting with the friend of Jen Fessler. I think I'm gonna call her that throughout the season since her name is also Jennifer, and it seemed like they really bonded with each other when they first met. Now, Jen Fessler is Margaret's friend, and I believe Rachel is Melissa's friend. I definitely get this type of friendship they have. Like, when you first meet somebody, you feel like you've known them for a lifetime, and now y'all just kiki all the time, every day. Just a little side note, I noticed them ordering from the waiter, and Rachel asked Jen Fessler, oh, do you want to share that? Jen is like, oh, no, I don't do that. Look, I'm greedy too. I'm just like that. I just thought it was funny how she just dismissed that immediately. Oh no, I don't do that. Now, I will share the tapas place, or one of those Japanese izakaya restaurants. So the gist of this conversation is they're saying they both talked to Jennifer on separate occasions, and when they did, she was shit-talking about people that they were cooler with. Like with Rachel, Jen was talking shit about Dolores, and with Jen Fessler, she was talking shit about Margaret, who brought her on the show. So of course, they're gonna go back and tell these people that you were talking shit about them. You're not smart, Jennifer. I'm guessing Jennifer was trying to collect an alliance talking to these two, but it definitely didn't go that way. And speaking of which, next scene we're with Margaret and Dolores, and they're both just shopping for Teresa's housewarming gift. So they're both talking about guys' night and how they heard that Joe Gorga flipped out. They're thinking about Melissa, so they call her on speaker to ask her how Joe's doing. She says he's still pissed at Teresa for not inviting her in-laws, and he doesn't want to go to the housewarming. And she kind of wants him to go just so they could bury the hatchet, but you know, she can't control her husband. I think him not going to the housewarming is only going to make it worse. I don't know, with their feud, it's always like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Who really started this? And that's where it gets all fuzzy, because this shit goes back all the way to season 3. Hell, I think even season 2, because y'all remember the reunion when Teresa got in Danielle's face? Do not talk about my family! Ooh, Jersey used to be so good in the early years, but you can really say that about all the Housewives franchises. Alright, so next scene, we're at the halfway point of the episode. Not much has really happened, but it's the day of Teresa's housewarming party. We cut to Melissa, she's getting ready for the party, and she's on the phone with Joe saying that he's officially not coming. He's just not ready to talk to her. We then see Teresa telling Louie and her daughters that Joe isn't coming, and she's disappointed. But here she goes again, having her daughters speak on the situation. It's Gia, and I think this is Melania, who's the youngest, now talking about her uncle. I'm really curious how the relationship is between their kids and if they get along or not. And Melissa is right, Joe is gonna come off as the bad guy for not coming, and then Teresa's gonna hold it over his head for whenever she sees him again. Because it makes her look like the good guy saying, oh, see, I invited him and he didn't want to come. I extended the olive branch. Yeah, because you started it. So everyone's arriving to the party. Everything looks cute. Now wait, new girl, the blonde one, what's her name? Danielle? I thought she was Teresa's friend entering the show, but we see Teresa introducing her to Gia, and it seems like that's the first time they met. Like, you haven't met her kids, but yet y'all friends? So then we see Jennifer arrive, and of course Margaret has nothing good to say about her. She tells some of the ladies that she heard from Jen Fessler that she was calling her talking shit about her. And I'm sure she's gonna approach Jennifer later in the party. So then Melissa arrives, and it's very noticeable that she's not with Joe. Actually, anytime Melissa arrives by herself, it's very noticeable that Joe isn't present. And immediately, here goes Teresa, trying to get the sympathy card. Well, I invited him. He didn't want to go. And he hasn't seen the girls in 6 months. Teresa, when the last time you saw their kids? It's funny I'm defending Joe and Melissa, because I really don't care for them either. Okay, Danielle, we get it. You don't have a good relationship with your brother either. You don't have to keep reminding us. We see all the guys together, and it's very noticeable when Joe isn't there because he's the Teresa of the group. And also notice that Paulie's there, but Frank isn't. And I'm waiting for the event when they both show up because I'm sure something's gonna go down. Speaking of which, we then cut to the ladies who are talking about how Frank isn't there. And Rachel, she knows Frank's girlfriend. And she's telling Dolores that Frank says he misses the old dynamic. Dolores hears this and she's like, too bad. Paul is my new man. He's my priority. I'm making sure that he's comfortable. He's just gonna have to get over it. Okay, Dolores. Dolores is giving Cookie Lyons energy. I gotta put me first, Lucius. I gotta put me first. Later on, we get an awkward exchange between Melissa and two of Teresa's daughters. I'm just like, ugh, this is cringe. This is some forced conversation. I'm surprised Gia kept it cute because she's normally disrespectful. So Teresa and Louis get up on the table and they make a little speech for everybody. And in this speech, she kind of made a little dig at Joe, saying everyone at the party is her chosen family. Afterwards, Margaret goes to check on Melissa and says, yeah, that was a dig. That wasn't called for. I agree. But then Melissa's putting on the theatrics like she's so hurt by this. Like she knows how Teresa is. She's really laying it on thick that she's upset. She even goes to the bathroom and starts to cry. I mean, I want to believe it. But, they've been on this merry-go-round so many times and now she's like, I can't believe this. I'm just thinking about Joe and the kids. Okay, Melissa. And the Emmy goes to. I do agree though that Teresa didn't have to say that, but she's a throw the rock and hide your hand type of chick. Like she's always doing something underhanded or spiteful to Melissa and Joe. So after Melissa's Emmy-worthy performance in the bathroom, she comes back outside and she's ready to start the mess. She goes up to Jackie and says she told Danielle what she said about her outfit and how Danielle kind of feels some type of way about it. Jackie says she doesn't care that Melissa told Danielle for whatever reason, but they're talking about her as Danielle is just literally steps away, and it looks like she can hear them talking about her. So when Jackie says, I don't give a fuck about her, Danielle ain't never scared. She goes up to her and says, oh, I'm just wondering, is this outfit appropriate for you today? Jackie then says, well, yeah, it looks like you're not going to a pool party. She then tells her that I never looked you up and down. Now, Jackie, why you want to lie? You definitely did, and you admitted it in the last episode. Like, you looking like a hating ass bitch because you're not full-time anymore. So I gotta be on Danielle's side on this one. She's like, this is the difference between me and you. I ain't like your vibe, so I invite you to my party. All Jackie has to say, please don't put your hands in my face. Very caring energy. What's she gonna do to you at this party? You think she's gonna smack the shit out of you? Even though she has grounds to, Jackie. But she was like, I'm from Staten Island, I talk like this. You should know that. Really, Jackie? She gonna ask Danielle, is that a threat? Danielle's like, oh, you know if I was threatening you, sweetie. Get her together. Jackie then tells her something along the lines of fuck off and walks away, but she definitely came off as a bitch in this scene. And it's not like we liked you in the first place, Jackie, so I would tread lightly. So later on the party continues. We're then with Jackie and Jennifer. They're taking shots together, but Margaret sees this and she immediately says, oh wait, no, she was talking about you. She said you were a snob. Jackie looked like she just wanted camera time and she don't care, but now Margaret and Jennifer are getting into it. Margaret then tells her in front of Jennifer that yes, she called Jen Fessler talking shit about me. We cut to Jennifer's confessional and it seemed like she was talking shit about Margaret, but she says that Jen Fessler wasn't really defending her like that. I mean, she really can't be surprised that she went back and told Margaret since that is her friend. Here they go yelling at each other, making a scene, and now Margaret calls Jen Fessler over. Jennifer's like, I'm sure you guys talk about me too. Well, they talk about you to people that also don't like you. Margaret tells her, how do you ever expect us to move on if I keep hearing you talking shit about me? And Jennifer says, I'm just stating the facts. And then Rachel gets involved and calls her out for talking shit about Dolores to her. So now they're going back and forth. Rachel says, you called me to talk shit about Dolores, but I'm saying don't put me involved in the matter. They're going back and forth now. Jennifer calls Rachel a fucking idiot. Rachel's like, watch your fucking mouth. Wow, don't mess with the two new girls, huh? They letting these ladies know that they are not the one. I'm guessing Jennifer said that because she's the new girl, but I know for sure she wouldn't have gotten Dolores' face and said that. Jennifer keeps talking and she's just loud and wrong. You look stupid right now, and Teresa's trying to calm her down because they're all getting loud. And Dolores is right. She said she didn't talk about Jennifer. Hell, she don't even want the people talking to her about Jennifer. All the ladies are getting involved in this conversation. Jennifer tries to shade Rachel, saying, well, I just called you because, I had my terrible nose job and I felt bad for you because of your terrible nose job. Jennifer is on one. I mean, we do need a villain on this season, so hey, she wears it proudly. Of course, here comes Teresa defending Jennifer because that's her head minion. And Rachel says she just wanted to stay out of Jennifer and Dolores' drama. Jennifer's like, oh, you want a medal? Somebody get her a medal. At this point, Rachel tells Teresa, I've had fun. I'm gonna leave. She excuses herself before she has to pop Jennifer. I will say, it feels like Jennifer is really the Candace of this season. Like, her mouth is reckless, but then when somebody comes for her or pops the shit out of her, then she gonna be crying victim. As Rachel's leaving the party, Jennifer says, don't let the door hit you on the way out. As Rachel screams, there's no door, asshole. And that is where the episode ends. A decent episode. Not as good as the first three, but it's okay. I'm enjoying Jersey so far. Y'all let me know whose side y'all on with the whole Teresa versus Melissa and Joe. I really don't want to pick a side because I don't care for both parties, but if I had to, I would say Melissa. Anyway, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.